October 18th, 2017, and it would not be a proper redacted podcast, so we didn't have Twerk and Bored in the background. I miss you guys. Welcome back.
Message us.
What?
What was the podcast?
I'm waiting.
I was waiting for like 3 minutes left, so I have to plan exactly last second before we finish our conversation.
Usually get like 30 seconds.
Usually get a 30-second update. No update today. No update today.
No updates.
It's everybody's fault. Ever. But listen. It's like you know, the smell of a fireplace or warm apple pie. Like it's part of the podcast, and it's something I don't really want to miss. You know.
Yeah. The smell of a fireplace. Why are you sniffing fireplaces? You fucking
dude. I don't know. The only time I was around a fireplace when I was a kid was always at my grandparents' house. So, and whenever I smelt like an actual fireplace, it reminded me of my grandparents in the holidays. I don't know. That's just me personally. I know everybody has their own little triggers for those kind of things.
Fireplaces, you weirdo.
Just being weird. So, not only do we have you guys back this week, but also we have we're gonna try a little bit different format today for the podcast, and we're probably going to continue this format up until 3.0 comes out, or we have some actual real good content to talk about.
So it could be some time.
I couldn't finish that sentence without laughing. So we're going to keep it kind of more loosey-goosey. We were finding that myself, Twerk, and Bored were just sort of having pretty good conversation before the podcast, and it's like, well, this is the kind of stuff we should be streaming, and
sounded like a lot of whining salt to me.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I figured we'd try it this way. So we're gonna do less of the point by point, covering over what ATV talked about and stuff like that. With this, obviously, they talked about cockpits. We're gonna talk about it briefly, and more of just sort of feeling it out and trying to go with more of a natural conversation and seeing how that goes.
Yeah. Also, my internet is completely fucked, so if my camera is skipping and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, just assume Twerk is a living GIF. It's just a really bad living GIF.
I'm sorry. I thought it would have been fixed by today. Apparently, it's not. So
it's good enough. Like his audio is good, and we can see his face. So it'll freeze his like different reactions. It's great.
Do you like internet from the past, like 56k modems? Then buy Comcast.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Didn't they? What did they tell you about that? Was it just like you're getting like 6% of what you should be getting or something?
No, it's like your area gets connected to a node. Everyone's internet does, and there's 3 nodes in my area. I'm connected to the C. There's A, B, and C. I'm connected to C. A was at 100%, which is perfect. B was at 100%, and I was at 6%. My node was at 6%. 6%. It was working at 6% of its capacity.
Star Citizen's more complete than your internet connectivity.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't think it is. Do you think Star Citizen is more than 10%?
More than 6%.
Right now, not with 3.0. Right now.
What, 2.6.3?
Yeah.
Oh.
Would you say, even with 3.0, would you say it's more than?
I would say with 3.0, yeah.
With 3.0, I'd say it's about a third done. Like I know that you think that's madness.
Yeah, it's madness because there's so many more star systems than that, and they're handcrafted.
Yeah, not talking about assets though.
So assets wise, I don't actually think it's that
talking
much
about overall
more.
though.
So assets wise, it's all modular. So a lot of that stuff that they're making now, especially because of the Stanton system, is going to be used on every system. In some part. Yes, there's going to be loads of mechanics they need to make, and there's loads more planets and loads more unique assets that they'll have to make for each of those planets. But they have been working since realistically 2013 on the game scope as it is now. And 3.0 represents the true foundation of that game.
Yes, absolutely.
Not the tech demos that we've been fucking playing, not the this is what the intention.
Commander, not
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's there's so much done for it that I would say that we are.
It's bringing in some of that glue.
Through. It's more than glue. It's the glue. It's the struts. It's some of the girders, and it's everything else can be put on that. And they're starting to release design documents again. So we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about this today, which is nice. We put one in the dock. I just put another one.
Well, yeah, there's two. Is that second one just got released?
It came out 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mass meet.
Yeah.
Mass meet.
So we'll go over that together, I guess, and just discuss it. Seems like it could.
Yeah.
Be
Do you want to do that one first, or do you want to do the careers and roles first?
Let's do the first one first before we do the second one first.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me just get all of my links in order here. Sure. Let me pull it up.
Well, do you want to talk about CitizenCon first, since that was out earlier today?
Yeah. Okay. We can.
Earlier.
Well, this one was. Yeah. This was. Let's do these first, and then we'll go into CitizenCon later. Because I feel like we have a lot more to. I have a lot I want to cover in CitizenCon post.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So let's go to this. This is the Shipyard careers and roles. So it basically looks like they've broken down the ships into what looks like 6 different roles. Those roles are combat, transport, exploration, industrial, support, competition, and then there's a multi-role.
Those are careers rather than roles by CIG's definition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the 6 defined career groups, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a 7th one that's called multi-role that essentially takes 2 of those and combines them, because the ship isn't really geared towards 1 or 2 of those. So maybe you'll have more of like a transport industrial ship, or transport exploration ship, or a combat transport ship, and things like that.
Like a Starfarer Gemini would be a multi-role.
A Starfarer, in my opinion, would be multi-role, because it's refueling and it's industry.
Yeah. So support and industrial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like a 350R is kind of a competition and combat ship.
Yeah, I see what I mean.
Hate that. This is one of the things that I really do like about it, is they're finally taking that M50 out of the. It's an interceptor to it's
a competition ship.
It's a fucking racing ship, like it has been the entire time.
Yeah.
Thank you, CIG. I hate that thing. You remember fighting that thing in Arena Commander? I still have nightmares.
Yeah, because you can't hit it. And it's like they're like mosquitoes, but they just wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
Right. So
and not only would they wouldn't go away, but they were, they were able to.
I think when we had the size 2, they could fit the size 2 like mass cannons or whatever it was. Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, but like 2 hits killed them. I don't know. It'd take a long time to get those 2 hits.
2 hits is tough. But yeah, I like this. I think it's
design posts.
I like design posts, but this post in particular, I figured would have been something we would have seen years ago, right?
I said this yesterday, and I really like how they're releasing this stuff before, this stuff. And if there's one thing that I'm pretty critical about with CIG, it's sometimes it's not a lack of communication, but just the way that they time things or the way they do communicate some things. So this is a nice change where it's like, okay, they're not waiting for 3.0 to drop all this information all at once when it's not necessary for 3.0 to be out or necessary for the new Matrix to be out. We can start to learn how the Matrix is going to work before we get our hands on it.
So for people that have no idea what's going on, what we're talking about, the CIG, the RSI website, is going to be updated. The ship matrix there, which is really old, needs to be updated for the new item system 2.0 stuff. They've basically redefined and standardized everything for all of the ships that they have in concept and that are flyable. And there's loads of new systems and parts and bits and bobs for them that they haven't talked about before, including like the capacity for their quantum juice, whatever the hell it is, quantum fuel, that sort of thing. That's all going to be going into the ship's matrix. So these posts that CIG are doing, which there are 10 of them, starting with the careers and roles one, are going to define how that new ship matrix is going to work. And the careers and roles one that we're talking about now is the definition of what they classify as a career in Star Citizen, and then split it up into smaller roles into Star Citizen. So you'd have exploration, you'd have touring and expedition and pathfinder ships, all that sort of stuff. And then from that, you can work out what ships are. But obviously, they're going to give us loads and loads and loads and loads of these posts, 10 of them in total, which they're then going to say, well, this is all of the stats for all of the ships, and now we can compare them. One
of the great things about this is if you have somebody who's like, I want to be a mining person, or I want to be an explorer, or whatever. They can just be like, okay, well, now they can filter those ships by what those careers are.
Yeah.
And fit into what the light mining, the medium mining, and the heavy mining, for lack of a better term, because they use those for the fighters. But they can fit those in those different categories. And then it's a lot there, especially some of the ships where it wasn't very clear. And I feel like some of those will still sort of have some mystery and intrigue around them. Some of those multi-crew ships, right? You look at things like the Avenger, the Cutlass, the Freelancer, those kind of ships.
Those multi-roles now, right?
This is not a definitive list of everything. The list will evolve. There'll be more careers. There'll be more roles, and all of these ships can be built out of their careers and roles.
Right. They even say that in this letter, that they totally expect people to take something like Turk's favorite M50 and build it into a combat ship, even though it will not necessarily ever be the best fighter. It will be able to be built into that role if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, the example they use is that they say a gladius with heavier weapons and more durable armor basically could be competitive or fight against another medium fighter. So it's like building it up to similar to a medium fighter. So you could just probably do something better with a medium fighter. But, the options are there.
Yeah. I just think it's good to categorize things now. It just kind of makes me, I guess for lack of a better word, laugh a little bit. Like, they've been making ships for so many years, and
now they're just organizing them, it feels like.
I don't think now they're just organizing them. Like, now they're comfortable sharing with us how they plan to organize them.
Right.
It's Item System 2.0 kicked them up the bum with all of this, because people were like, we need up-to-date information, and now there's no reason why we can't have it. And it can be tied to your internal databases of everything. So if you change any of the stock items, if you add another ship, it should just all be updated. That's all ready for that now. It's good to point out as well, actually, for people that were asking, careers and roles do not affect what missions you can take in the verse. They are just guidelines for the stock ship.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's not necessarily true. What about a ship? What about a ship like obviously they haven't shared it with us, but a ship like not the 890 jump, but the newest one, that's the Connie sized 890
the 600i.
600i.
600i. Yes, sorry. They didn't really tell us what we were going to do with it, right? Too much, but I imagine that these luxury ships are going to unlock.
Yeah, why isn't luxury one of these things here?
No, so
you don't know what luxury is.
Why isn't that a career group? I want to be a luxury career.
Because they're going to add career groups to these things, I would imagine.
Technically, you're correct, Work. Like, so it wouldn't stop you taking a mission to escort a VIP, or I could have an Aurora, and I could probably take a mission to escort 20 people to a planet. Yeah?
You could take it, but you couldn't fit them in it.
But I couldn't fulfill it.
Yes.
But if I had a ship that could fulfill it, then I could say, what I'm trying to say is, obviously you're right. Like, you need a Genesis Starliner to do something that's ferry 100 people in passenger class to a planet or something.
I'm going more the line of, you won't even see the mission unless you have.
Well, they suggested that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah. In this post, they said specifically that it wouldn't be the case, that it'd be up to you, which does contradict things that they've said in the past. Like, for example, the Cutlass Blue will give you, and the Avenger or whatever will give you access to certain other types of missions. And you would think that would be the case with, if you had a Hull E. If you didn't have a Hull E, then why would they even offer that mission in the first place to move so much stuff?
Maybe it will be reputation-based missions, so that missions will be offered to you based on your reputation. So if you've got reputation of being able to transport people or being able to do certain missions, then they'll give you that mission, even if you don't have the ships for it. You can go, well, I'll go and get that ship.
That's where I think luxury. That's where I think luxury comes in. Is it actually creates reputation? I think it might actually create reputation.
It's like a reputation multiplier or something.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea.
That's exactly how it is in real life. Oh my God, look at that guy. He is driving a Ferrari. He's really cool. I want to hang out with him, right? Things like that.
I was thinking that the passenger and VIP transport might literally be you get paid based on how happy they were during the flight. Like and the 600i might just make people happy by being on it.
Yeah.
He just makes it into some sort of ×2 multiplier or something. Instead of them being on a constellation, they're on the 600i. And they're drinking their champagne.
They're chirping her for derpy perpy.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Chirping her for derpy perpy. Shouting after Pap.
I just heard derp.
Yeah.
But no, you could have like a mission to transport 2 VIPs. And you have to make them a rating of 80% happy, something like that, and you get paid a fuckload of money. But we don't know. They basically say here that it's not going to restrict what missions you can do, but I suppose we can foresee edge cases where it's sensible to have them restricted based on your ship.
Yes.
So that stuff might change.
Now moving,
I would think it's an edge case, but yeah.
Now moving on to the shipyard ship mass. I'm not heavy. I'm just built that way. Do you want me to go through and actually read this? Because I haven't even seen it yet.
I think for released. Us to actually be able to discuss it, I think we might have to. I wouldn't read it word for word. I would skim it.
Okay. Do you want to? I'm not very good at. I'm very much a word for word kind of guy.
Okay. So they go through the concept stage, which I don't think we really need to look at too much. Because it's more of this is what it looks like. We're making them watertight, blah, 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 blah. My density has brought me to you is the next session. Once we had the volume of the ships, so that's what the concept was with the volume of the ships. Now they needed the construction methodology. This is where things actually come into play per ship, where they said, the 300 ships, I think I read this.
The origin ships have lighter materials.
Origin ships will have lighter materials. Yeah,
the Caterpillar
and
the
Aegis,
Drake,
because they're more military based, would have heavier materials, and Drake will just have rusty materials.
Whatever they can get their hands on.
And then there's species based construction. Xeon ships are renowned for their materials and are significantly lighter than their human counterparts. So maybe Mystic ships would also be lighter. So they said that, allowing some crossover with MISC. Design will work with the lore team to determine not only the aesthetics in play for the Banu and Vandal. So we don't know much about the Banu and Vandal species construction, what their, characteristics would be. And then they have design roles. So ships that are naturally heavily armored require more rigid internal support. So that's just the look of them on the internals, I guess. Is the design also, style.
They're going to have more mass because they've got more armor on. They've got more support systems. Their design.
And it's going to affect how they control, I imagine, how their turn radiuses are and all of that stuff. Same with the alien stuff if it's lighter.
Definitely. And when you go to the next part, it kind of says that you guys are right. Once the mass for the external chassis on the ship was generated, so when they look at it and choose what the mass of the external ship chassis would be, then they look at the internal, all based on simulating the interior paneling, doors, wiring. So Star Citizen like to do this, right?
Yeah.
Let's measure the weight of this light switch.
How much? Not only how much does the wire weigh, but how much does the sheath around the wire weigh?
Yeah.
And then you have a bug smashers 2 weeks later about, someone missed a zero out on the light switches and they were floating away, or they were so heavy the ship was crashing.
That's the difference between
into planets.
That's the difference between the Origin and Drake. Drake doesn't have this rubber coating on their wires. Who needs that? But Origin, they have that. Not only have that, it's also a braided line for all of their lines, even though you can't see it. It's all braided steel lines.
Yeah. And then the last part was the calculations with certain components. So I guess the way
they have some hidden ships in there.
Yes.
Oh shit! There are loads of hidden ships in there.
Mm-hmm.
All the pixelated things. This isn't Nintendo. I know you're trying to trick me, CIG.
And they're all Aegis ships.
It looks like that. Yeah.
They are all Aegis ships, twerk, aren't they?
And it's not the Aegis or the Javelin or anything, because that information is shown.
Do you think? Funny is there definitely at least one Aegis ship that they've talked about.
Well, the Saber Raven looks like it's directly under the Saber. You can see Raven. think I could probably work that one out.
Well,
they could have left the name in, but not the stats.
It's interesting that they haven't put the other Vanguard models there, that they've redacted them. They've just got the Warden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at they've just got the Warden there. The rest of them have been redacted.
I think I just closed it by accident. No, I just closed the image by accident.
It is it does say example of ship mass calculations. So people say that it's just a.
I am gonna read the FAQ word for word. There is only two of them.
Yeah.
And so the first one is, will changing the item mass on my ship intentionally or through damage actually have an impact on its flight? And it says, yes, it will, though not immediately in Alpha 3.0. So yes, coming down the pipeline, but it's not anytime soon. Obviously not in 2.6.3 and definitely not in 3.0. When we do the initial tuning value, we base it around the default loadout and structure, then give the ship goal times to achieve the desired results in 0G and atmospheric flights. Generally, the ships are able to achieve these goals as they are not absolute timings. Outside of any external factors, adding mass will change the flight characteristics, and should you make the center of mass uneven, may not do so for the better. We anticipate this feature coming online in a future Alpha 3.x release. So they don't know when it's coming in yet, but it does sound like it's in the next 3.1 to 3.4 or whatever.
When's this 3.x update coming out?
Yeah.
Is it like the iPhone?
Yeah. that's just its name.
It's actually just 3.10.
They're just getting edgy now. But it doesn't come with a headphone jack. Next question is, what other aspects of mass have changed outside of ships? Every single piece of armor, every item you carry on your person has an applicable mass, and these all directly tie into the actor status system. So things like your stamina and breathing and oxygen, heart rate, all of that stuff. And the heavier you are, the more exertion there is to perform actions, and these consume oxygen quicker or may even limit what actions you can do, such as jumping or vaulting, maybe. This system also extends to items carried on ships. Carrying a small crate of heavy metal will slow you down more than carrying a helmet in your hands, and these all get added to the mass of your ship when inside of it. So it sounds like there's a nesting of the weight stuff in the different object containers, I guess, is that, and that's probably what they're waiting for, is, and that would make the most sense, is the object container streaming to come in for this all to function properly.
Definitely to function like not with massive performance issues. But yeah, so item system 2.0 allows the inheriting of values, and obviously that they've just gone, just the ship's hull is going to be the important thing here. It inherits all of the items on board in 3.0, but it doesn't inherit their mass values.
Now that we've gotten the careers and roles in ship mass, under further reading here, there's all the other things that we can see. I didn't really pay attention to it yesterday. Do you think that this is something they're going to release on a daily basis like they have so far?
They said at least over the next couple of weeks. So
maybe.
Probably Monday to Friday kind of drops.
Oh shit! Yeah, it will be 10 days. It will be Monday to Friday drops.
Yeah, Monday to Friday until CitizenCon, right?
Yep.
So the next one looks like it could be ship technical. I don't know if these are in order, but we have ship technical information coming.
Probably are.
They're going to be talking about thrusters. They're going to talk about weapon hardpoints, and it sounds like there's going to be some changes to those. Ordnance hardpoints, which we haven't really heard anything about since.
That's missiles, right?
It could be just missiles.
It could just be missiles. Okay, well there
might be big artillery pieces as well. But
there is one right underneath it that says other hardpoints.
Yeah.
So turrets, other hardpoints, SCU and cargo. And then variants and modules, which is something that I think needs to be touched on by them as well, for what the difference is in between the ships that have variants and modules. And even though they've sold some ships as a variant, even though it has been a model, looking at you Vanguard, looking at you Retaliator, Cutlass, or sorry, Caterpillar, and like the Cutlass is a variant, for example. So getting some more clarification on that will be nice.
They also said that capital ships will be covered in a separate post entirely because they're their own beasts. And I believe that they'll probably be doing something for vehicles and snubs as a separate post as well, because they're not really covered entirely
in ships. Yeah.
Although they might put it into one of the other things, maybe variants, modules, or thrusters. I don't know.
So good news for us content creators. It does give us at least a little snippet of something to talk about every day until CitizenCon comes out. Even though I'm not going to be here for half the week.
I have to do a video a day on one of these bad boys. I have to fucking think for 2 weeks. Ah!
You don't even need to read a script.
Oh my god! I've got to change some of the words, and otherwise people will go, BoredGamer, he just regurgitates things. It's almost as if he covers the news.
Wait, that's what I say.
Nah. Oh, the next thing.
Stop regurgitating what I regurgitate.
Yo, what? I'm regurgitate. What's going on?
We got a post yesterday about CitizenCon, and I'm actually really excited. I'm equally excited and bummed out.
You're bummed out because you're not going.
I'm bummed out because I'm not going. Right, yeah. Exactly. Because I was like, Germany is not a short trip for any of us, really. It's obviously a little bit shorter for Bored, but for me or Twerk decided he hates flying and is never going to fly anywhere again in his life. Because
I'm going to Austin. I'm flying to Austin.
Oh, you're flying. Look at this guy.
Yeah, I'm getting wasted though.
Because one bad experience going to PAX East. Because they have some sort of blizzard snowstorm turbulence.
So
no, it wasn't just that. It was LA too.
I happen to know, Twerk, that they really like it in airports when you're really smashed before the flight. They're like, "We got another winner. This guy's just get him on board. He's smashed."
Or just get drunk on the runway while the ship's being taxied out.
That's what I did last time.
Yeah, it'd just be like, "How many are you legally allowed to serve me within the next 15 minutes?"
3 vodkas, please. I just said 3 vodkas. She brought them, and that was it. Game over.
Nice. Just don't eat. Just don't eat before you have to go, and get that in there.
Great advice from Redacted about how to fly. Here, guys. it's our CitizenCon survival guide.
CitizenCon survival. Just get smashed the whole time. I mean,
head scat, drunk.
Bored. To be fair, last time I saw any video from you during CitizenCon. I think we were all.
You were in bed just like chilling out, and I was in the toilet. It was a weird experience for all of us.
It was a weird experience for everyone. So anyways, they announced how they're going to run CitizenCon this year, and it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more like an actual fan fest or convention.
Woo!
While it's still going to have the large presentation, that's not all it's going to be. Me and Twerk were both at last year's CitizenCon. And it was exactly that. It was a presentation, and then there was sort of some mingling beforehand. And they kind of tried to do it. There was like a small little photo booth hidden in the corner, and there was like a meet and greet and stuff. But it was very much just a presentation kind of thing, and then a bar citizen after. Where it sounds like they're gonna have different booths set up. They're gonna have different panels talking about different things. They broke it down into people arriving, the different things they're going to be talking about, the 5 presentations that they have, which is very cool. The keynote address. So maybe they are turning into Apple with their keynote address here. And then they also released another thing. They're calling it like the Tech Gallery, sponsored by Aegis Dynamics, the UE Diplomatic Core Bar, the Universum, sponsored by Electronic Access. So they're trying to keep it kind of in lore and all of that other stuff. And I think
if Chris Roberts starts wearing a turtleneck,
a black turtleneck and jeans,
black turtleneck. Yeah.
The first thing I thought about was Eve Fan Fest. Is that what it's called? The Eve ones.
Yeah, yes, I think it is Eve Fan Fest.
And while I don't know a whole lot about it, the small things that I've sort of run into online is like organizations end up getting their own booths there and have like the orgs talk to each other and do all of that kind of stuff there. And so it kind of made me think of what kind of stuff would you like to see them integrate? Maybe not for this year, but going forward.
Yeah, when there's actually a game and
like would you?
There's the communities playing the game against each other, with each other, all that, similar to how Eve is now.
Would you like to see a booth for say they give an opportunity to the different, say, Redacted or Test or Bad News Gaming or whoever, like to have a booth there for them? And even if that, I don't know if that would cost them money or if they would just allocate that, whatever. That's kind of beside the point. But just allowing people to come in, maybe allowing different vendors to come in. You know, somebody like maybe Track IR or Intel to have a booth there. Or
very strange that you say Intel booth, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe there might be one there, right? Now that they've sort of talked about that a little bit. You know, maybe the who's making the eye tracking stuff, are they gonna have a booth there now?
Yeah.
Oh, Toby eye tracker.
No, the face over IP.
Faceware.
Yeah, faceware.
Yeah.
Faceware.
So, I mean, I'd like to see loads of different things. Obviously, loads of different hardware vendors, loads of different orgs having their own booths. But I'd also like to see lots of in-game things. Like, I'd like to see UEE booths, and I'd like to see brand new trade booths and stuff. And you could talk to the devs about some of the stuff they do, and they could talk to you about what they're planning in game and what's happening in the game at the moment. You could have it very much as like a political meeting for in-game, as well as a celebration of the game.
Right.
And
you can make it a sort of an event that's in lore, kind of. And you know what I would be nice, and they didn't say anything about it. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. But if they have, obviously it would be nice if they had a merch booth, right? Where you're able to just buy merch right there without having to pay for the shipping or any of that stuff. You have it right away. You can buy the t-shirt, you can buy the hat or whatever it is. Maybe they have a couple little things that you can only buy there. But what would be cool is if you extended on that, like what you just said, and if they had like a Banu shop and they had a pirate shop and they had a UEE shop. And so you buy that stuff from those specific places. And I mean, it would be kind of cool. Obviously, it takes up space, which is taking up money and stuff as well. So I don't know how...
Is it taking up money? Those fan fests, they don't need to make money at. They just kind of need to break even-ish, I suppose. If even that...
And that's what the tickets are for, right?
Yeah. They sell the tickets. They want to kind of break even, I suppose. It doesn't matter if they make a little bit of a loss, because it's a big celebration of the game, and it buys them loads of goodwill. And people talk about it then. And then you've got this huge word of mouth. And fan fests are legendary, man, some of them. Like, it's just... I'm looking forward to that for Star Citizen. We've had the most like bar citizens and support on world events of any game ever. We must have already, because it was just insane, the community.
Thinking about it though, the reason I bring up Eve FanFest as well, not only is it another space game that has a lot of crossover with Star Citizen in terms of the player base and what people think of when they think of like a space combat game, but there's not really any other game specific conventions that I can think of outside of Blizzard doing their own.
I think
that are that large. I think there are, but they're niche.
Minecraft?
Like there's Minecons,
right?
But people go out that normally quite quick. But there's ones for like that farming game that everyone fucking plays in Germany.
Oh, Farming Simulator.
Yeah, people fucking love that.
The booth at Gamescom last year was like crazy. There were so many people that are yelling and screaming. It's a farm simulator.
Mate, people love it.
Yeah.
People love it.
Yeah, Paradox has one.
Okay, well, like I said, these are the bigger ones that I've heard of, and are the only two big ones as someone casually not really paying attention to a lot of this stuff. BlizzCon is obviously a big one that I hear about every year, and while I don't hear about Eve FanFest every year, I do sort of stumble about it randomly here and there.
It's because a lot of those fan fests are kind of bundled in with other things like Gamescom or PAX or stuff like that.
And they're not their own standalone events.
Yeah, it's because it's hard to get a standalone event like that because you need a huge kind of
player base that's willing to spend money.
Yeah, but also that it can expand, because there's no point in doing a fan fest really unless you're trying to, from their marketing point of view, expand that community. It does come down a lot to marketing. Let's face it. The companies that want to make money, if they want to do their own special private events, it's because they want to make money.
And now something that wasn't in this letter that they had sent out was the head scanning. And so they're going to choose 10 people for, was it each day? Or 10 people total? I think it was 10 people over the 3 days.
I believe that they're doing 10 people before the event.
Okay.
To make sure the event goes smoothly. That's the way I interpreted that, though I may have misread it.
So for that, you need to be over the age of 18. You need to shave your face if you have a beard. You need to be willing to wear the clothes they give you. And be willing to wear a bald cap. Right? Be able to wear a bald cap. and be able to sit still and handle flashes and all of that stuff. And then on top of that, they want you to write a short reason why you should be picked to do that. I think today is the last day you can get that in by as well, isn't it? Was it the 18th? I don't have access to that letter.
Blah, 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 blah. I think it might be the 18th. Yeah, so that would be today.
That would be today, yeah. So today is the last day you can do to go in that. I know for me that is something.
Zork said it was yesterday.
Okay, it was yesterday the 17th. Okay.
If Mark Hamill can have a beard while being head scanned, why can't I?
Because he's Mark Hamill.
And he's and they're scanning him with a tier 0. You're definitely getting scanned with like a tier 4.
Well, it does. Like, surely that if I'm getting scanned less accurately, I can have a beard. Like, I don't need to wear a bald cap.
I know. I said the first thing I said as soon as I learned about that was I would make if I was going there, I would find a way to reward my stream by just waxing my entire head. Just wax the whole thing. It would hurt, it would suck, but it would be hilarious and it would make their job easier. But I really want to get my head scanned into the game.
I think a lot of people do.
That would be amazing.
I think we think there's going to be lots of other opportunities. Well, at least we hope to have your head scanned. So people are like, it was a stretch goal. It was one of the things that they want to have a little pop-up booth that you can go to at different conventions and get it scanned in. I would be very happy if they went through all of the stretch goals and actually fulfilled a load of them. Some of the ones I thought were questionable whether they'd fulfill. I like the fact they're doing that. I think that's awesome.
Now, is there anything at this convention that you would like to see moving on in the future? I mean, I mentioned having the different booths or having like content creator panels or things like that. But is there anything that you guys thought of that were like, oh, this would be cool?
It sounds like they're basically in the technology and whatever the section they called it. They're giving effectively office tours of the sort of stuff that you'd see in an office store, which would be behind the scenes on concept art and actually building things with like SolEd and stuff like that. I think that's really cool because a lot of people can't attend an office store. They're very small. But in the fan fests, you can get a load of people in every few hours. Fucking win.
Well, you can also get interviews and stuff like that, like you could at a normal convention, where you couldn't really do that at CitizenCon previous because it's more of the presentation, and you'd have to sort of book that. But now you could, you could go in and sort of have like interviews with them right at the booth.
I think my dream is to go around a CitizenCon event, and be entertained for the whole day, not want to leave. Be like, oh, I really need to eat now, so I've got to leave. And it to be this amazing social experience where I can talk to people constantly about something I love, go and see all these different booths, talk to devs, be quite drunk throughout, or be at least merry drunk. But there's a bar there.
Drunk enough to stream from the bathroom.
No, drunk enough to stream Aaron Roberts through the bathroom again. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so sorry. But it's just that kind of proper fan fest, and if they've got enough stuff to entertain you there, that will be great for 7. Because effectively for 7 hours they're entertaining you.
Yeah, we just need some food, drink, and.
Do you think there's proper food there?
Do you think they would have Star Citizen themed food? They didn't at the last one.
Just noodles.
They did have food and they did have alcohol at the last one, but it wasn't themed. It was like macaroni and cheese, or like
that was good, by the way.
It was good. And that's the only thing I remember because it was really good.
Yeah.
But there was things like that. But it would be cool if they had like, Vandal meat or something. And it's just like skewers or like kebabs or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we hit like all the main things that you would need in a fan fest. Like the main thing is meeting like your friends. Like I'm going to, I guess what a fan fest would be sort of is VerseCon, right? Where it's going to be just a bunch of people that are getting together. I mean, Bored, you've done these with what the hell is it called?
CitizenCon.
Yeah. So this will be my first kind of thing like that, and I'm really looking forward to it because it should be a lot of fun. I get to see some of my friends that I haven't seen in a while, So
and some people
that's really what I look forward to.
and some people you may have never met before.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know, me and Gritspitter have been talking a lot, and like we're really excited to be there. I think we're gonna.
He's a really good cuddler.
Do you have any creepy stalker fans yet to work? Were they just like fully around saying, "Why are you?"
No, I'm not a famous YouTuber, so I don't.
One day, I get loads of them. Yeah. I just take T-shirts off for them and go, "Mate."
There's people all over England chasing after bald people.
Yeah, upside down headed.
Oh my god, children do think my head is upside down. That is true.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the stream.
we were.
I told Bored that he just needs to draw a mouth on his head upside down, and keep his normal mouth closed, and he would just look like an upside down man with a receding hairline.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What, you say my beard's receding?
No, just the way that it peaks on both sides down. It would look like that a little bit.
And receding beard feels bad. That sucks.
Receding beard.
Your beard looks like a mullet and it's receding. And fuck you, Bored. Oh.
No. No.
Oh, I feel we got off topic somehow. It's weird.
Somehow. And then we also had an email right before the podcast.
At some point today.
And it basically was talking about CitizenCon and had a little sneak peek of
oh my God.
What the little CitizenCon conference guide. And on the conference guide and in the email, they show an outline of a ship. What's this Pokemon? And the Pokemon's name is we know it's Consolidated Outland because I hinted at that before. Yes. And a lot of us have sort of guessed that it's some sort of homesteading or base building ship, which what it sounds like. But then the name really gives it away. So it's called the Consolidated Outland Pioneer. Mm-hmm.
What's that Pokemon? That's right. It's $1,000.
No chance.
You know what it is? They just removed the silhouette and it's just a bunch of dollar bills in the shape of a ship.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Somebody do that. That's a quick Photoshop job. Somebody do that.
It looks a bit like a derpy eagle. If you look at it, you see its face, the front of it. It looks a bit like a derpy eagle with a little tiny wing. Like a
in the front, like a little flipper.
Yeah.
It kind of I don't know. It's you kind of get the shape of it. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I wonder, okay, that's how big a saber is next to it. But then I realized I don't really know how close those sabers are to it. That could be really far in the background. Or it could be up close.
Really close. The one under it looks really close. I think it's a Connie-sized ship. We were talking about it before the podcast.
Yeah, but the ship itself could be way far in the background, is all I'm saying.
Maybe.
Yeah, the ship could be large, or it's going to be at least Connie-sized. But
I don't have a banana. It could be
up to Bengal-sized. It's the issue.
Yeah.
It could be massive. And Pioneer does suggest that it's something to do with exploring new planets and exploration and pioneering.
And the picture too, right? It's landing on a planet.
It is landing on a planet, exploring new worlds.
Exploring new worlds. The word pioneer doesn't sound like it's just an exploration ship. It sounds more like a settling ship.
Let's have a look and see what involving new ideas or method. That's what pioneering means. What does pioneer mean? Let's have a read. Definition of pioneer.
This is now turned into the dictionary podcast.
Pioneer. Oh, I don't know how Wiki works. Clearly. Wiktionary. No, one who goes before as into the wilderness, preparing the way for others to follow.
Is that even English?
So it's preparing the way for others to follow. The idea of pioneers.
Okay.
Person or entity that's the first among the earliest in any field or inquiry, enterprise, or progress.
So a ship to get there first and set up a settlement before everybody else gets there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
kind of makes
posty type things.
Makes the most sense. But yeah, very interesting. It does definitely have a silhouette of a larger ship. It doesn't necessarily look like it's something that's like
ships have a silhouette of a larger ship if you bring it closer to.
Well,
closer it is.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you took the silhouette of a Buccaneer or a Saber or Hornet or something, you brought it up close, it still looked like a single seater ship.
Yeah.
Whereas this doesn't look like that. You look at all those, we'll call them the stubby wings. They all look like they're thrusters, right? They may not be, but that's sort of what it looks like from here.
I mean, it's got to be at least caterpillar sized. Surely, looking at only
at
fucking
least
big things there.
I still think it's a Connie size ship.
No, look at the amount of big thrustery things.
Yeah, I think it might even be bigger than a caterpillar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
That could be 2 caterpillars long, mate.
And then okay, so let's go with some hypotheticals here. Let's say it is base building settling ship, which is what everything is sort of pointing to at this point. And let's say it's caterpillar sized or larger. What price point are you expecting this to go on sale for?
Caterpillar sized or larger. Caterpillar was what, 300?
Yeah.
345. Or the 245.
295. 295.
It started out at 245 and I think it went up to 295.
Yeah. When the scale changed.
Yeah. So, but it's very highly specialized potentially. 450.
Yeah, 350 to 800. I mean, I know that's a huge
as ridiculous.
Disparity.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be way up there. I think this feels like it's a ship for an organization.
This is not a single person.
This is not
ship.
A single person ship at all.
This is not a player that's like, I want to play alone type of ship. $1, Bob. That's what I think.
$1. I'm gonna go with $2.
I think it's going to be over $2.
God damn it!
We'll see who's closest.
Yeah, but you can't go over. You can't go over.
$3. So we all lose.
There you go.
What you mean? What they can't go over?
You can't guess over the price, or you lose.
I can't guess over the price.
Okay,
$3. $2.01. Sorry,
$4.20, Bob.
$4.20 and 69 cents.
No.
I was just sent a link by Zorky.
Secret link of the day.
Oh my God.
Secret link of the day. Zorky, actually, could you send it to me again so I have it on my other computer?
It's dick pics. Oh, look at it. Oh.
And we'll show that it is an artist's rendition of what the Pioneer could look like in a 3D format.
From that 2D image.
From that 2D image.
Okay.
A 2D black silhouette to a 3D high poly super fidelity.
You're going to drop it in the chat as well?
Yes. Yeah, Zorky. If you just want to post it in chat, feel free.
I don't feel convinced that this is going to be any good. But it might be. I might.
There it is there. And I'll pull it up for you guys here. And this is what it looks like. Potentially.
Potentially.
Somebody was pretty quick with this though. To give a base, a rough outline of what it looks like for a Pioneer ship.
So, I mean, I would be upset if it looked anything like this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Me too, it's ugly.
But I also know that what was his name? What was the Sean Noonan using a coffee machine as one of the assets for a long time. He had a giant coffee machine as his base station. So I do know that they do stupid shit. Oh,
I mean, I could see it being roughly
Why does he think it's hollow from the side?
I don't know why he thinks it's hollow.
Why?
How does he gauge that? Yeah.
It looks like it might be hollow in the middle.
It is.
I'm sorry, Calmore. I'm sorry to take the piss. I couldn't do anything like that. But
yeah, this is a very early white ball.
Good question though. How did he guess?
Well, he just guessed, didn't he? He went, "Fuck it."
What if it's hollow? That would look neat. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's where
Maybe
it
thought it was
starts
like
to
little
build
buildy
or
arms
something.
that come out.
Yeah, little buildy arms or little areas that get covered over with domes or something.
I thought it was going to be very similar to like a Crucible if that was its role then, but it's done by Consolidated Outland, and we don't have much info about what their ships look like really, other than the Mustangs,
which looks like an enemy ship, like from an anime.
It looks a little bit like it's going to turn into some sort of
Gundam.
robot.
Yeah. Speaking of, they just had those yesterday. Did you guys watch that at all?
What?
The big Japanese robot versus American robot Gundam.
Oh no,
things.
I'll watch it later. Don't tell me.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
You watch it later, like it's like really important.
What do you mean? Of course, it's really important. It's two giant robots actually fighting.
Fighting.
You've got no soul anymore. You've become so jaded and salty. You can't even enjoy robots fighting. That's what men drive with. Not just men, because that was sexist. Men and women all over the world. Geeks.
Okay, I also have a image here that puts that 3D model beside the silhouette.
A Gundam.
No, beside the silhouette. So you can sort of see. It wasn't too far off, really.
I'm hoping that he's too far off.
I don't know, man. It looks pretty close.
He's added a front bit to it.
The front bit is kind of added.
I know what I need to do before I create this in 3D. I need to change the silhouette.
What front bit?
You've got the front bit. You've got the real one at the bottom.
Front bit's there.
It basically. We don't know. It looks like that.
Oh, he's created a front bit. Okay, I was confused by that image, just thinking that the middle one was actually the right one. Okay.
So what he's done is he's created his own and then made a silhouette of it and hoped it looks similar.
Fuck it.
The back looks very similar, though.
Yeah.
The back
it's not even got the aerials in the right place, Saurus. He hasn't even got the aerials in the right place. He's got an extra one.
I still don't know where the hollow holes come from, though.
This is not the same ship.
Well, it's to not take the piss. He's obviously he thinks, well, this is going to be for building or for vehicles or something. That's his perception of it. From my point of view, I like taking the piss out of things that others have made that are better than me. So fuck you.
Is this CNN?
Also, if you guys have, we're still going to do questions at the end of this. If you guys have any questions for us, !! Question in chat. If you have questions for myself, Bored, or Twerk about anything that's not NDA'd, please and thank you.
No.
Yes. No. Yeah, but I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanted to sort of touch on?
We were going to talk about the flight.
Oh, right, the cockpit updates from ATV. So this is one of the things that I don't understand. I said this on my channel, and I think I know at least Twerk shares the same thing with me. Why I understand why they're adding it in. I just don't understand why they're adding it in so soon. So adding up the start sequence and the ability to skip right by that. And then not only the normal start sequence with pushing buttons, but also being able to go around and click and do all of that stuff. It seems like it's redundant, and that time could be focused on putting in actual new aspects of the game instead of making it 30 ways to do one thing. And I think
they want to have that stuff in there for
like the role playing and stuff later on, but is it necessary right away?
What is it called? Like fidelity and to make it feel as real as possible, immersion purposes, right? It makes sense for it to be there, but like at the same time, nobody's going to use them because it's just faster to use keybinds.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone's just going to keybind getting in and out of your ship. Everyone's just gonna
keybind the startup sequence and then flying away.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some people will use the other ones for the first couple times, or if you're a hardcore role player, then maybe, or if you're making a YouTube video. But I think overall, a large majority is just going to be using that single one button push.
Yeah.
Let's get this going kind of thing. So it just makes me wonder why they would put. I understand why they were going to put the time in eventually, but why they think that is necessary to put that in now. Maybe it's something that it's easier to put in now. Maybe it's something that isn't as much work as it sounds like. Especially with item 2.0 coming in with everything else and being able to select all of that stuff. Now they did talk about this was something that was interesting that they talked about in ATV. They called it the HOTAS CL ships. So it was like a standardization of ships that had a certain HOTAS setup. So with the joystick and the throttle, right? Now we know there's other ships out there that have sort of the yoke, and there are other ships maybe that have dual joystick. And then there's some other specific ones that have like the Xi'an Scout has like those 2 ball things. But they're standardizing all of the ships that have a single joystick in HOTAS.
Yeah.
And that sort of makes sense for me that they're putting that in now and getting that all in. Is that what I guess what I'm going to ask is, what do you think that they're going, like they talk about and they're very specific about talking about the Gladius, and they've talked about this before, where you can see the front weapon, you can see the flash from the muzzle. But now they're sort of tying that into the HOTAS CL stuff. And do you think that that's going to happen with all of those ships that they named? The Buccaneer, the Cutlass, the Herald, the Gladiator, the Gladius, the Saber. Where if they have those applicable weapons in the front, not all of them do, but some of them do, that you're going to be able to see them like that. And they're going to have very similar.
I was never a massive fan of seeing them like it doesn't make.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing is there was a lot of feedback from that saying a lot of people didn't like that, even though we haven't been able to try it out in game yet.
It was just an artist or a team that all thought, "Oh, that looks cool."
Yeah,
that's the issue that's happened there.
And then there was a huge feedback saying, "I don't want to see flashing lights in my direct vision when I'm trying to see my target."
Hey, I'll be right back 1 second. I'm getting a little dizzy, and I think it's just because I haven't drank any water all day, so I'm just gonna
drink water.
I'll be back.
Drink water and don't pass out. And
I'm not gonna pass out. I'm just like a little loopy.
I mean, when is he not a little loopy?
I think the issue with the cockpits and all that sort of stuff is that some of the reworks they do are good. Some of the reworks are relatively minor. They're just damage updates, materials updates. I've lost my voice. Materials updates and light modeling updates, like they had with the Hornets and stuff recently.
Yeah,
and some of the more major ones we probably and hopefully won't see them again, like with the Cutlass Black. But obviously the but the Vanguard's cockpit and the Saber's cockpit's been remade. And we've got all these cockpits that have been made ready for Item System 2.0 with all the buttons and everything, which for a lot of people will be entirely unnecessary.
Yes.
People, it's great to have them, and I understand why they have that functionality, because it shows that all the systems talk to each other. And it's because that they want to have the fidelity of being able to do that. And when NPCs or AI operate a system, they want to be able to go through those motions of it. I understand that.
I think it's more for immersion than anything.
But
I turn this on.
Very, very few people are going to be using. It's going to probably be less than 5% of players will be using those buttons after the first week. There'll be hotkeys, because it's quicker.
Yep.
And you get used to that. Like, a lot of players will be playing at the highest settings they possibly can for the first 2 weeks, and then go, like I do, I'll make concessions for frame rates, which I'll go, great.
I have everything on low.
Yeah.
And I've got a fucking powerful computer as well, and I still lower strategy to make sure I get like max frame rates. Like, it's something that players do, and it's interesting for me to know like the percentage of players that will be playing Star Citizen as intended. And when I say as intended,
yeah,
4K,
settings,
120 frame rates with using all the buttons, not ever using a hotkey, all that sort of shit. Like people that go for the true immersive experience. That's going to be interesting.
No percent.
Well, it's going to be a tiny percent, but there'll be some people. It's interested to know what Chris Roberts thinks that percentage is. Like, how many people are going to experience my game as I intended them?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Sherman says your input may be a hotkey, but the animations still need to be there and play out. That's fine. And I guess at the same time, the interaction system.
Yeah, and that's sort of why I was saying, how much work is it actually to add that stuff in? If it's not a lot of work to do that.
It's already part of the interaction system anyway.
I suppose there's going to be some interaction that you can't do with a hotkey, such as reading off a radar of where an enemy is. And looking at like probably some of the mapping things, some of the probably stuff to do with mining and stuff. You're going to need to interact with these panels. Yeah, some stuff's going to be visual.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as Matt said, like we said with NPCs obviously integrations as well, but we need to go through the motions with the animations. So
yeah,
it makes sense. It's interesting to know how many people are actually going to use it in that way. Like regardless if the animations need to play, it's still in every situation possible more. It's easier and takes less time in like crunch situations, like if you're in a combat situation or in I have to hurry up and get my ship and want to leave here. It's 100% faster to just click a button. Hotkeys are ergonomic. They're supposed to be ergonomic. I mean, that's their use. It's super user friendly. But there's also the possibility that you might forget a key, or you might not know every key. So this does allow you to go, oh shit, I want to do something I've not done before. Done.
Yeah, not everybody has a million buttons they can keybind on their mouse or their keyboard or whatever, you know. So you can't keybind everything, but I think the most important things.
Well, it's also you also have to remember the keybinds are contextual. So if your keybinds can be used different way if you're not in a ship, if you're in EVA, then on ground, the controls do something different, right? So while you're in your interaction mode, right, or maybe not even in interaction mode, but in the cockpit of a ship, there's only you can use those keybinds for a dual purpose, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'll make use of the system. I certainly will at the very beginning do loads of it, but I'm sure I'll make some use of it even when I'm many thousands of hours into the game.
Yeah,
just not as many as they'd like.
But I mean, there's lots of games out there that you could look at even now that do people play them as intended, or do people turn off the shadows, increase the render distance, turn off foliage, right? Do all of that stuff for an advantage in game, not necessarily to get a higher frame rate, but just to see things better, or for whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what the sort of meta is when it comes to that stuff, not only while the game is being built and for people to get better frame rates and things like that, but even after the game is released, what people are going to do to try and get that little bit of an advantage over something else.
Yeah.
You like the way I say foliage?
That's foliage.
It's foliage.
Yeah, foliage.
I got some foil here, mate. I got some foil here. Some foliage, mate. Sometimes
is that your hat?
I guess most of us, I guess the three of us are okay. Are you, like Matt Sherman says, you're dealing with a direct competition scenario? Is turning your ship on a direct competition scenario, or is it more ergonomic to press a button?
Yeah.
You know, and it comes down to like what Board says. It's more ergonomic to press a button than to find the
go
spot
through and turn things on
it
individually, and
or at least it becomes more ergonomic over time. Like when you don't know what the buttons and the keys are, 100% you'll be using the inner thought system and the interaction system to.
Well, I mean, it's one button versus two. It's one click versus two.
Yeah, and eventually people that want to be
and click to use. So
if you want to be as competitive as possible.
There could be a way that could combat that. And the way they could combat that is if you push one button, it's a set amount of time. But if you go through the actual thing, you can do it faster.
Well,
if you do it manually, you do it faster. But if you do it through the one-click button, it's an animation that takes a certain amount of time. Maybe it takes a little bit longer, and you can potentially do it faster if you do it yourself.
Well, if you're looking at the area,
yeah.
I suppose. If you're looking at the area,
maybe that's a way to balance it.
That would be maybe a way to balance it and get people to use it. I still think
Matt was saying for visual settings, not necessarily for the keybinds.
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about the keybinds, but maybe that's a way to get it so more people use it the other way around.
Well, I just think it's something that will happen. It's bad or a good thing, or I think that people will gravitate towards using hotkeys because they're easier to use, they're more user friendly, and the system will still be used, and it's an important part of everything. It's just it is what it is.
So
we're not saying it's bad and totally unused, but
quick answer to this. EVA stands for extra vehicular activity, so any movement in space outside of a vehicle. I guess we can probably jump into questions if there's anything else you guys want to talk about before we jump into these. But we have, it looks like a dozen or 15 or so questions here.
Yeah, it looks like my internet's just getting worse too. I'm watching it.
Well, your voice is still good, so worst case scenario, I can just get a looping gif of you doing something. And
I thought that's what was happening.
Of Trixie, yeah. Okay, so the first question is from Purple Cow. With 90% of the verse being NPC and NPCs being easier to fight than humans, we don't know that yet, and that's not necessarily the case.
They can make them very difficult if they want.
They can make them more difficult. Are we going to see people avoid dealing with other humans on average?
Potentially, yes.
It really depends on how difficult.
The thing is, this isn't Elite Dangerous, where you can just turn on solo mode, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't know who's an NPC or a human. I think the other things until you're close or closer to them.
Yeah.
Also, the game very much encourages you, or I assume it's going to encourage you, to be part of an org and play with lots of other players.
Yeah,
there's going to be lots of politics going on there.
Yeah, I don't think that people are going to be avoiding dealing with other people on average, and I think the big unknown in that question is how difficult the NPCs are.
I think the big unknown is how many people are going to be in an instance or in an area.
That as well, but
right?
Yeah, that's true.
We don't know. It might be really difficult to find other people because of that.
Yeah, but the way I'm reading this question is that people are going to intentionally avoid people.
Yeah,
and not necessarily not because it's 90% of the population is AI, but they're going to go out of their way.
How would you intentionally avoid somebody in a game like Star Citizen? What would you do? And then I think it's easier to answer the question once we establish that.
There'll be more. There will be some systems which are significantly heavily security based, where PvP combat is a lot harder to do. Those will be the safer systems where people that want to play PvE will stick to. Obviously, there is still a potential for PvE combat and even PvE pirates, the NPCs ambushing you as well.
But those would likely be the systems that you would see the most people is the safer ones, right? So you're not avoiding people you would be avoiding combat.
You would be avoiding PvP combat.
Yeah.
I suppose if you wanted to avoid people, you'd fuck off into Vandal space. Just hide somewhere, like a moon or something, where there's loads of Vandal. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really good question though. It's just I don't feel like people. I don't think I would avoid people.
It's just a load of devs now. It's CIG going, we haven't even got 3.0 out. Oh no.
Our next question's from Commander Riker. He says, do you guys think that CIG will limit certain ships in Star Citizen from being able to land on moons or planets at all? I would think a Hull E or the science ship might be more interesting if it couldn't land on any of those planetoids.
After seeing an Idris land at CitizenCon, I don't know. I don't think so.
Potentially, they could, with enough flat space, land any ship, I suppose.
Yeah.
But though
now,
with
land at a landing zone, no. An Idris would not be able to land at certain landing zones. I mean, they've said that for a while. I imagine that would still be the case. But they wouldn't have an Idris-sized landing pad.
there might be ships that are so large or oddly shaped they are not appropriate for landing, like a Vandal King ship, for example.
Maybe only the largest landing zones have a landing space.
Like a massive Earth and like the really high traffic areas.
Yeah, the really high traffic.
The Retribution, like for example, that Super Dreadnought, I think it's unlikely to be able to land. I don't know. Fuck it. Might better crash.
I have a feeling it can definitely explode.
Well, I mean, when they talk about the Holy, that was an example that was given, right? Was I believe in the lore of the ship,
but the Holy definitely
is not a landing.
I think things have changed since then, though, as well. And the Holy can definitely shrink down.
The largest ship,
a fully loaded one.
Yeah,
they have to take the stuff from it.
That was supposed to be able to land on a planet was going to be the Banu Merchantman. That was supposed to be the largest ship that could land planet side. Now
we don't know because of CitizenCon.
Yeah, now we don't know. They've got procedural planets now, so they've got the space to land ships anywhere. It might just be the largest ship that can land as a landing zone is a Banu Merchantman.
Yeah.
Because if the balance is that they wanted only the Banu Merchantman to be the largest ship that could land because of trade purposes, then they could still reserve that. They could still preserve that that balance. But more ships landing on planets is cool to me. Like, think of people having a base in the future. People having big bases with capital ships landed planet side because they have to do repairs and maintenance there for some reason. And then the battles that are going to be ground side are going to be fucking amazing. Case because you'll be battling to capture a grounded capital ship. Oh, that'd be fucking cool.
It would be very cool. Our next question is from Navy 920, and the question goes to BoredGamer. When do you think the Retaliator will get its modular and many a rework, or some kind of love, especially with the current rework?
The issues is that stuff with the modules they need to deal with and they need to start talking about. But we don't know when they're going to start putting the modules out. I'm expecting for like something like 3.2. So think of mid 2018 when they start to do like Battlefield upgrade kits and modules, and then we'll start to see modular reworks, and then we'll start to see sort of the modules looked at more for the Retaliator and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's the crux of that. Pulling numbers on my ass.
There you go. Treason asks, is it possible for the game chamber ship just does that, just maybe acts as an in-game way transition from PU to things like Squadron 42 in a law-friendly, immersive way? You might find it's like a taxier-free military-approved shuttle. I think no. I think with everything that we saw, and this question was actually from the other day. This is from the 15th. So I think with everything that we've learned today, that I don't think that's a possibility. I think it's pretty much what all of us have been guessing up until this point. And even if it isn't that, it's very much closer to that than saying some sort of transition ship from the persistent universe to Squadron 42. Next question from Treason. In your humble opinions, as both Grand Inquisitors and Oracles of the Cloud Imperium, when will we start to see the benefits of the Delta Patcher used to add things like ships, clothes, or anything non-stabilization oriented content? Or do you think all playable assets will be fixed to a 3.1, etc., rather than them making a 3.0.1 or 3.0.2 weekly or bi-weekly updates?
Well, I guess we kind of talked about this earlier, right? Is we don't know what their patching schedule is going to be like.
Yeah, we don't know exactly the patching methodology. Now, Matt Sherman will also probably tell you, chat, that there is no quick workarounds for some patch content. They can't release ships quicker. They have to go through all of the steps and the processes before they release them. So when assets are ready, however, and they've been tested, the potential for the Delta patch to be able to release them is there. Now, there might be other things that they have to do, and they might have to release it as part of an Evocati patch or whatever, but potentially we could see smaller patches with smaller content, like clothing, like items, hot fixes, definitely, balanced stuff, definitely, fixes, all that sort of stuff. They can pump those out with the Delta patcher. But whether or not they're going to use it for actual items, whether they're going to use it for ships, remains to be seen.
Our next question's from Joe's Got More. He says, do you think they will tone down the cockpit experience when you get hit and the ship shakes from being struck by gunfire?
No.
Do you think that it will only apply to very large projectiles like missiles and capital-sized weapons versus smaller ships?
They're turning it up.
Yeah, it looks like they're turning all of that stuff up to 11.
And they need to, because think about when you get hit from behind. Like, play 2.6.3 now. Go play Arena Commander. And
you can't tell that you're getting hit.
You tell me when you're getting hit. You can't.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's really difficult. So
unless it's direct head on.
I hate the idea of you shaking around in your cockpit. I feel like it might be a little weird. I think something is necessary.
Well, we're also going to see updated animations, not only from the player, but we're also going to see the lights go off and stuff like that, which they show in some of the bigger capital, or like even like the ship like the Vanguard and the Retaliator and stuff like that. Yeah. We're going to see more of that kind of stuff come into the cockpits of the single-seater ships as well. But no, I don't. I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see less of it. I think we're going to see more of it, and I think that's going to be good. And I like how Board's reenacting it. Yeah. There you go.
I'm being shot. I know I'm being shot.
Aladdin says, after permadeath, what do you think about after your character is permadeath? Will you be forced to create a new character, male or female, so you're not just a copy of a copy of a copy of a dead Citizen player? Would this be a great thing to implement in the game of the future, or will this be crap? Will it come this way, or will it not be this way?
Like,
you guys answer. I'm going to put the Death of a Spaceman link in there for him.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, light permadeath is almost certainly going to be a thing. That's the plan and the intention, where you can die a certain amount of times. You might be able to replenish your lives somehow, but once at some point, if you keep on dying, you will eventually permanently die, and you'll have to create a new character. Now, I say it's light permadeath because you had some lives beforehand.
Sorry for that link.
Nice.
But you have some light permadeath, but you can create a new character and they'll inherit all of your previous stuff. You might lose a little bit of money, you might lose some reputation.
Reputation will be the big thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's not going to be I'm done with this game.
I think in terms of creating your actual character, I don't see why not. You wouldn't be able to create your character and make it look exactly the same. And there could be all kinds of little reasons for that if you want to even go down that road. If you think it's necessary, that they're able to clone people in the future.
I was getting that link. I don't know if Board mentioned it, but it's my understanding that at the start you would create your character and create your next of kin, and it would just pass over. And I assume once permadeath happens, you would create the next of kin for the next of kin, and so on.
That's a good idea, actually. I do vaguely remember saying that. I haven't covered
believe that's how it goes. It's been a long time since I read Death of a Spaceman as well.
Creating two characters at the start's a good shout.
Yeah.
Maybe it gives you a bonus if you create your next of kin early. Or something. Yeah. Just like a tax rebate when you die.
The next question, I feel like there's a little bit of sarcasm in it, but at the same time, I think this is also warranted. And it comes from Truman832, and he says, what do you think the War Bond goodies will be for the Pioneer? Naming rights, hull number, butter churn, rickets?
I think some of it was...
right? Like if you looked at the 600i, you were able to name that ship or that module. Whereas... I
imagine they would do the naming rights thing for every ship going forward. Right?
I don't know why they wouldn't just add it retroactively to all the ships we have as well. Because we're going to be able to do that eventually, right?
I'd like it for all ships but bought with money, but or the very least, all ships that were LTI to come with naming rights. And that's a nice little LTI. That's a nice concept sell perk. Lifetime insurance and naming rights. Because they're not huge, but they're something that people will want. Encourages people to back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else could possibly.
I mean, it comes with the model. It comes with the poster.
Yeah.
It will have a special skin or a number on it or something.
And it'll have a money skin, like I said, of all the dollar bills.
Just loads of dollars.
Yeah.
It's made up of dollar bills.
It would be
just a big origami.
It'd be the gray lit skin, just money lit on fire.
Yeah, it's all money and it has flames on the front.
Yeah, you're just lighting your money on fire.
Yeah.
Rupture asks, do you think or want CIG to make a role sheet for all roles professions, so not just the ship roles only?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They will.
I think they will, but I think that they should only okay. I think that there's some things that some people have read in too much and think they're going to be able to play the game as that role for the entirety, if not the majority of the game. While that's not going to be the case for some things. Yeah. So yes, just to clear that up. But I think some people would be disappointed with the amount of stuff that those roles or professions would encompass.
Would you like to see a role sheet of every single possible type of way of making money in Star Citizen that CIG foresee players doing?
Yes. I think that's what they're doing.
Yes, and they're evolving that. The ones we've seen at the moment are the broad categories. There's going to be fucking billions of subcategories.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't even talked about outside of your ship how you would make money yet.
Or vehicles. Or on foot. Yeah, exactly, on foot. Exactly. Yeah, there's
how farming is going to work, or medical stuff is going to work. Or
yeah, there's so much. This is going to
the science.
This is just the initial. This is probably the next couple years or year and a half of what they're able to get in the game.
Well, it's as simple as that. This is just the broad categories for the ship makes.
Yeah, but they went a little less broad, where they also mentioned at the bottom racer. And
they did mention some of what the roles did. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, inside of those broader roles, there's going to be smaller roles, and they'll add smaller roles as time goes on.
But it's up to the players to define those roles. I mean, you're going to be able to take player contracts in the future. You're going to be able to do. Well, yeah, there's going to be the player jobs board. Effectively, you make your own enforceable contracts as the plan.
Yeah, but I guess that we're just missing each other a little bit. I mean, like role as search and rescue might be a role, but as a person you might not be the one in the ship. You might be the actual, like a
medic.
role in medic. Exactly. That's where I was going with this. That's
squad roles. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of potential things. You could be a real estate baron possibly now. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
There's loads of stuff.
Yeah, rock collector. Senlark says, what do you guys think there's going to be of the future of language within Star Citizen as far as interactions with the AI?
Well, at CitizenCon, I believe you're going to hear the inventor of Klingon talk about Xi'an and Banu and stuff like that. They are real languages. The Star Citizen languages they have made are real and learnable. And
readable. Readable.
Yeah, you don't need to learn them to play the game, and you don't need to learn them.
Well, there'll be benefits to that, I imagine.
Yes.
And very quickly, you're going to see translators online.
Oh, yeah. Auto translators. Well, I mean, I'd hope that Google will eventually have it set the standard as Xi'an and Banu. That's how popular you want your game to be.
Well, at least the fan-made one will be like, okay, type in what you want to say in English, and then it'll spit it out in Banu, or the other way around. Yeah. Some sort of space frog. Class 3000 says all the interactions in the cockpit suggest that they're prepping it for VR. What do you think? I think that's something they are trying to keep in mind as they do these things as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Keeping it in mind.
For them to successfully integrate VR, it needs to be there. It's not something you can just tag on to the end. And I don't know Twerk if he has had the chance to try any VR stuff.
Just one time at PAX East.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was at PAX East. So it was quick. It wasn't.
I know Bored has jumped into a fair amount of VR stuff. I've done a fair amount of VR stuff as well. And you can tell with the very few exceptions, there are some exceptions, that if a game wasn't built for VR, it's crushingly painfully obvious. With the exception of Minecraft, was really good. I don't even like Minecraft, but it was really good.
VR, it just isn't there yet. Like we are this. First of all, people could argue this is second gen VR because of the DK1 and 2 kits, and like that kind of odd phase where everyone was buying them, wanted to buy them before these ones came out, the consumer models. The next gen of VR should be perfect. Like genuinely, I say perfect, should be a great playable experience for all. The one at the moment, there's not enough games. There's a few little problems still. There's still occasional people that get sick. I can only play for 2 hours without feeling a little bit sick and going, I need to stop. Like it's almost there and it's quite good and it's quite fun, but next gen is where it's at. And I'm hoping with Star Citizen, that's when they do that integration. In a couple of years' time, when like the next gen of VR stuff's out, next like Oculus Rifts and the next fucking Vives or whatever, that's when they integrate. That's my hope, that it just coincides. That would be great, because then we get good VR rather than sort of like slightly uncomfortable VR after 2 hours. No one wants to use it in player because it's not competitive, and people only use it for Squadron 42. And you want it to be competitive. You want it to be fun.
Yes. Lyrium says, how many hours would you guys guess you have played in the game? I guess individually, and then we could sort of do some quick maths and throw that together. But how long would you say you played the game? I'm going to say I'm probably close to 9,000 hours.
I have no idea.
See, I've done significantly less than that. Actually played
maybe 7,000 hours. If you're 9,000,
yeah,
I'd be
I'm 13,500 hours streaming, and let's say, yeah, I think.
How do you know that?
I can type in my exclamation point hours in chat and see how long I've been in my channel for.
Oh, I'm not always in my channel though.
Yeah, and that's a custom command that I made. But you can check if you go into your Deepbot and you go to your user database. You can go to hours watched.
3,000 hours in my chat.
Now, I don't want to dishearten anyone that the guy's bored must have more hours than these clowns. But I don't. I probably realistically only got a couple of thousand hours in the game. I watch and research. You don't
stream it.
Yeah.
I don't stream it. I watch and research a lot. I mean, pushing it, I might have 2,500 hours, but that's definitely pushing it. I watch a lot of Star Citizen. I read everything Star Citizen, and I read all the meta and stuff. But I haven't played that.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of playing the game, yeah, I would say between 9,000 and 10,000 hours.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a lot, eh? That's a lot.
How can you play so much? They ask, and they wonder why we're going crazy, you know?
Yeah.
My next played game, it's probably Dota 2, but I've got about 1,700 hours.
Mine is PUBG, and it's 500-600 hours.
And mine is Arma 2, and is about 3,000 hours.
I've got 1,000 hours in Rust now. I looked the other day. And I only play that quite casually. I thought I did.
Our next question is from Matt White Paint Job. He says, I know the hype for 3.0 is real, but do you think it will be the biggest one for the hype? We still have 3.1, 3.2, etc., and all the future updates. So do you think that the moon landing will be the best going forward, or do you think it might be something else like the multi-system planets or pets or careers, etc.? Basically, do you think that this will be the most hype patch ever?
For me, 3.0 represents the biggest thing, the biggest step that CIG will ever make that's not beta and full release. So pre-beta, pre-full release is the biggest step they make. It's probably not going to be the best patch, because there'll be a couple of mechanics that I'm really looking forward to. When me and Twerk can do mining and economy safely, I'll be like, fuck it. Doesn't matter if this game's boring, because I just mine. I fucking love mining.
I mean, for fuck's sake, I just started playing Life is Feudal. All I've done is dig dirt the whole time.
Fucking that's what we like in Conan. We like mining.
It's pretty fun.
Like mining resources.
All I've literally done is take dirt from one place and put it in another place. And it's like, you know, you're helping the boys out. You're helping the group out. It's like a thing.
Yeah.
For me, the only other bigger I think this batch is going to be the most hyped for a few reasons. Number one, like what Board said, it brings in a lot of the systems. It's kind of putting the game together for the first time. But not only that, it's the first patch that we've had some, you know, delays, I guess we'll call them. They're not really delays. They're more like extended release dates. We've had other extended release dates before, but not as long as this, and not with such a long wait. So I don't think that I think all of that adds to the hype that's around this and what people are expecting out of it. That being said, for me personally, The biggest patch is not beta. It is not 3.0. The biggest patch is going to be the one where they figured out their networking. That's the big thing for me. That's the final thing of, okay, all of the technical issues are solved. Because
I think
to
that'll
me,
be
that's
beta though, like the networking, because you've got networking and capital ships probably at the same time. And I think
capital ships would have to at least come after networking. They'd have to have networking done first.
I mean, they can come in the same patch.
Yeah,
the network would be done, and then
right. But the ships are required for, or the networking is required for the ships, not the other way around.
Very much so.
Yeah,
chicken or egg. Yeah, you're right.
But they could come in the same patch.
But they could come in the same patch. Very much.
Obviously, network has to come before.
But the big thing of that patch and the highlight of that patch, even though it's not the shiniest thing or whatever, would be that. And that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to. And I think is the biggest technical hurdle they still have to face in terms of the entire game development of Star Citizen. Not Squadron 42, just Star Citizen. Obenins says, what is happening with the Merlin undocking from the Constellation? It was all moving forward in the schedule report, then it seemed to have vanished and not spoken about.
Didn't they say docking was 3.1 or later?
I think it's been moved to 3.1.
Yeah, I thought it was pushed out, and then that's why they stopped talking about it. It was one of the things that got cut.
Yeah, they originally wanted it in 3.0, and it was potentially going to be in there. But I'm not sure if it is or not anymore.
Klesk 3000 says, as a pirate, could you possibly disassemble one of your ships to make it resemble a derelict, setting up for an ambush? Also, Bored, when are you coming to Romania?
My brother's girlfriend's Romanian. I might go to Romania sooner than I think. I don't know. Let's organize a Romanian citizen some description.
Romanian Redacted Con. Redacted Con. I'd like to go to Romania. Why not?
Yeah, fuck it, why not? Hey. They made my brother eat pig's ears last time he was there.
Bacon.
Didn't make him do anything.
I think it was like an honourable thing, like, have these raw pig's ears, enjoy. It's like, oh. No, so I think with the I've forgotten what I was answering now.
The pirate being able to assemble a ship to resemble a derelict, setting up for an ambush.
You're certainly about to do that. Whether you're about to reassemble the ship is another thing. You're not about to set ambushes.
I mean, you could just go to a current derelict and set up an ambush.
Go to a derelict or kill a ship and then set up around it.
From Matt White, paint job again. Do you think there will be a simple way to do transporting people around that will be small and cheap? Or will you have to use another way to get enough money to buy one of those larger ships and then use it?
I imagine they'll do Uber type transports, smaller ones, single people.
Yeah, you might be able to do it with any ship with a bedroom full, we know. It's likely you're about to do it in some way.
Caterpillar bedroom modules.
Anyone with 2 seats that aren't in the cockpit.
Yeah.
The King Carry passengers, essentially. Werchel says, if your character permadies, how will you be able to continue your character's Squadron 42 story in episode 2? We don't know that it is actually the same character.
The whole thing would take place before.
Yeah, it takes place before.
It's like a prequel after the fact, like the Star Wars movies.
No. Star Citizen takes place after all of the Squadron 42.
Yeah, acts. So when episode 2 comes out, which is after Star Citizen is released, it's still considered a prequel
to Star Citizen.
So okay. Yes, right. Episode 1 is coming out before Star Citizen. Then hopefully Star Citizen's coming out.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 is coming out.
Yeah. Episode 3, 4, whatever. Those would all be considered prequels.
Dwight doesn't look convinced either that that's the way that it's going to be.
I mean, that's one way they could do it. Another way they could do it.
42 is coming out.
The other way, yeah, that's true. The other way they could do it is they could just say it's a different character for each one that you play through. It could be your next of kin 500 years later or something.
You're probably about to play with your Squadron 42 character, even if he's dead and start anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Next question's from Tom, and he asks, when talking of the Hull series, I always see people talk of Hull C and bigger. Do you guys know if the perks that could come with the Hull A and B, What do you think? Can you think of any benefits to those ships? I mean, they all sort of do the same thing, just different amounts, right? I think people just talk about the hull C, D, and E just because they're larger ships, and I think more people have those ships. But in terms of the A and the B, I think they can do pretty much all of the same stuff that the larger ships can do, just in smaller quantities.
Yeah, I mean, they might be more efficient for small cities as well. They'll be able to get into areas that the hull C and larger can't. They might be more fuel efficient. If you're smuggling stuff, they might be more effective at avoiding being detected. There's lots of reasons why you might want a smaller ship for transporting.
Well, remember that I do believe that jump point sizes are still going to be a thing.
That as well.
So I haven't heard them say anything about changing that. So.
And Durka G asks, so going off the Game Changer being a ship to deliver outpost modules, was this not something mentioned in lore for the Carrack to be able to do? No, so the Carrack is an exploration ship. It is not a settling ship. Whereas the Pioneer, just going by the name, I don't know if it makes outposts or not, but just going by the name of the Pioneer, it sounds like it's more of an explore and then settle kind of ship. Whereas the Carrack is more of an expedition exploration ship where it doesn't settle down into something. It just looks for stuff and then comes back. Whereas the Consolidated Outland Pioneer sounds like it just goes out and never comes back.
Yeah, definitely the role of the Carrack has very much become a long-range expedition ship.
Yeah.
Whereas the Game Changer, if it's to do with outposts and stuff, would be very different from what the Carrack does.
Question from Matt White Paint Job. Do you think you will be able to fly a ship by voice or maybe partially? I mean, if you wanted to, you could do it now through voice attack.
You can. With voice attack, you can do it.
It would be a pain in the ass, and it would not be very effective, but you could do it. Yep. Cataphor says, and this is our last question, do you think stuff in Squadron 42 will carry over into the Star Citizen MMO, like reputation and factions, etc.? Yes, they've actually said that this is one of the ways, not the only way, but one of the ways you gain citizenship within the UEE is by serving in Squadron 42.
Yep.
So yeah, that is it for our questions. That is it for our questions today. Let us know how you enjoyed this format, either on Twitter, in the comments on YouTube, in Twitch chat, or on our Discord, which you can find at discord.gg/redacted. And let us know if you liked this format that we did a little better, a little looser, a little more loosey-goosey, conversation based, or if you like. I don't think
it was much different than our normal podcast.
It didn't feel very, very different.
It didn't.
I don't know.
I just think we need
our preparation was less
organization. I thrive with that organization. Fucking go cray.
Just go crazy. Yeah.
Go cray.
Go cray. All right, we're gonna start with Torque. What are you up to this next week?
My internet working.
And where can people find you and all that jazz?
You guys can find me at twitch.tv/Torque17, at Torque17 on gaming on Twitter and YouTube. Just trying to get my internet working. As you can see, my camera's pretty shit. Tech came out and told us what the issue is. It's just a matter of them actually going out and fixing it. So cross my fingers. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to get my car. I've been out of a car for a week. So just trying to live my life again. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't know. I start playing Life is Feudal. Might play that on stream.
And next week you're going to VerseCon, right?
Next week I'm going to VerseCon. So I'm going to be hanging out with the American boys and girls.
How long are you going down for?
Wednesday to Sunday.
Okay. So I take it you won't be here for the podcast then?
No, I don't think I'll make it unless I can. I mean, I don't know how I could if it's going on during CitizenCon, because VerseCon, if for those of you guys that don't know, is a fan meetup where we're just all going to get together and watch CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think I can make it for this podcast this time.
Fair enough.
So yeah. I'm not even really going out there necessarily for VerseCon. I really just want to go out there to see some friends, but I'm obviously going to attend the event.
So happens there's a very proximate
event happening at the same time for Star Citizen. Yeah. And BoredGamer, what are you up to this next week? And you're potentially going to CitizenCon itself.
Yeah, so I've booked flights and hotels and stuff for CitizenCon. So I may go down there, I may not. It literally, I may be needed here, is the issue. So I'd say there's a 50-50 chance, although I haven't even bothered to work out what the chances are. So I might be there, I might not. If I'm not there, then I'll cover the event from home. And if we're doing another Monster Theatre thingamajig, whatever the hell.
Redacted Citizen Theater 3.0.0.0.0.
Something like that. But if I do go, it will be fucking great. I might shave to get my head scanned. Who knows? I'll just like barge ahead and go, do you know who I am? And they go, no, he's just some bearded, bald freak. So I lost all my power.
Just type 1 in chat if you guys want to see Bored wax his face.
Oh my God, that would be horrible. But this week I'll be covering the Shipyard stuff, I suppose. I had a couple of other plans for videos, but I'll do them later. Shipyard, wham bam. That's a video a day on something that CIG produce. They're making design documents, which is my bread and butter, which they haven't done for months.
In so long, yes.
I know. And this is leading up to the biggest thing that I want, which is the ship's matrix being redone. And maybe they'll have maybe at the same time they'll update their website so there's no invalid shit information on it. And maybe there's a tutorial about how to get into the game and things like that. So that's
things that are useful.
Yeah, it's things that are useful. What about you, Soros? What are you up to?
I am doing TwitchCon this weekend. So I leave for that tomorrow and I won't be back until Sunday for that. I do have an official Twitch meet and greet on Friday. So if you are in the, if you are going to TwitchCon on Friday at 7 p.m., I'll be doing a meet and greet for an hour and I'll have stickers and all kinds of cool little goodie bags to give to you guys. And then I'm going to be here. So that sentence doesn't make any sense. I will be here for sure, doing the Citizen Redacted Theater thing. Depending on who's all available, will be joining me for that. Right after this, I'm going to be jumping into a game I've been playing quite a bit of lately. Is some Miscreated, probably 10 minutes after the podcast. And you can find me on twitch.tv/WTFosaurus and on Twitter at WTFosaurus. And you can join us in our Discord at discord.gg/redacted. Once again, I want to do a quick shout out to Zeus, Noxia, Ryglitch, and the Anonymous Panda hanging out in the podcast questions and helping organize and sort those for us. Always appreciate you guys helping out. So I'm going to be shutting down the stream here for about 10 minutes while I take my dog out and all that jazz. And then I'll be back up with some Miscreated. If you guys want to join, feel free. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye.